What's up, everybody? You're back in here with the Pro Football Pod. You've got Hulk, you've got Coach, you've got Austin. Hopefully, Coach is recording this time so we don't have to cut this one again. We appreciate y'all for stepping in here with us. Subscribe down below. Every 500 subscribers, we're giving away jerseys out here. Help us, help you. We got the Miami Dolphins season record prediction coming up here for you guys. Let's dive into a little bit as to what the Dolphins did in this offseason. Right now, it's been rumored and up in the air whether Jalen Ramsey and or Tyreek Hill will both be on this team by the time the season starts. Jalen Ramsey is expected to leave, so my predictions came into that being a factor that Jalen Ramsey will not be on this team.
They don't even show him on PFF. Like, they don't even show him in the
lineup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were able to bolster up their offensive line a little bit by bringing in James Daniels. I love that move. I loved him coming out of the draft, so I like that they were able to do that for him. Outside of that, they didn't really do too much in the free agency department as far as anybody like really making an impact. They had to replace both of their safeties, but Melifonwu and Ashton Davis are both like second or third options at safety for you, and the Dolphins have them starting right now. In the draft, Kenneth Grant at pick 13, defensive tackle out of Michigan, Jonah Savaiinaea at offensive guard from Arizona, Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle from Maryland, Jason Marshall Jr., corner out of Florida, Dante Trader Jr., safety out of Maryland, Ollie Gordon, running back out of Oklahoma State, and Quinn Ewers, quarterback out of Texas. Finished it off with another defensive tackle in Zeke Bigger. So I do like that they hammered the defensive line. I love that they finally drafted an offensive lineman early, like worthy, not trading up for Liam Eichenberg, because we see what that's done for him. But man, I really thought that with, Jahdae Barron still being on the board at pick 13, like I was screaming for that pick. Malachi Starks also being on the board at 13. I was screaming for one of those guys. The Dolphins need DB help. It's going to be rough. Like that's all it's going to be a very frustrating season to watch these games.
They also have Julian Hill as the starter at tight end because of all the Jonnu Smith rumors. Now they are showing Grant and Savano as starters, which is really great to talk about our first and second round pick. I'm really glad that we built within the trenches if this whole team's going to get blown up in a year or two. I think Jahdae Barron would have been phenomenal. Same with Malachi Starks. But if we're not a contender this year or next year, then those picks aren't going to be able to help us as much as really bolstering up just like our
and honestly, I think that's more of a recipe to how they've neglected the trenches. It came back to bite you in the ass in a draft like this, to where you have other major needs, but you can't fill them because you have to build your trenches again because you did nothing. No.
Yeah.
So getting into the schedule here, week 1, they're on the road versus the Colts. Week 2, they're at home versus the Patriots. Week 3, they're on the road versus the Bills. Week 4, they're at home versus the Jets. I have the Dolphins going 3-1 in that stretch, with their only loss being Thursday Night Football in Buffalo.
Agreed completely.
Yep. 3-1. Solid start to the season, boys.
Yep, I think week 1 versus Indy, I just think the Dolphins are the better team overall. I don't see how Indy's defense can stop Miami's offense. Week 2, I think New England's still going to be trying to get things figured out under Vrabel. Buffalo's been Miami's daddy, and I'll just be the first to say it. And week 4 versus the Jets, that's another one. It's prime time, but you're at home and you're versus a first-year head coach with a roster that's not the greatest. So that's how I see those going. Next set, we've got week 5 on the road versus the Carolina Panthers. Week 6 at home versus the Chargers. Week 7 on the road versus the Browns. Week 8, they're in Atlanta to play the Falcons. I've got them going 2-2 in that stretch. I have them losing to the Chargers and the Falcons.
Yep, I like that a lot.
I've got them going 3-1. I have them losing to the Falcons, but I think that they should be able to beat the Chargers. I think the
Get out of town.
Chargers have added some pieces for certain, especially to their offense. They are still going to be likely a run first team. I think Trey Harris will take a little bit to kind of get online, and Amari and Hampton isn't something that we should be able to easily stop. But by then, we should have Chubb, we should have Phillips, we should have our full defensive line with Kenneth Grant. I think that
I gave the Chargers the win simply because with this Dolphins DB room,
That's
I
all I was
think
thinking
any
about.
team with a half decent quarterback is going to throw for 350 on them every game.
He can slice and dice y'all like
Tua's going to
no
be able
tomorrow.
to do a very similar thing. I think that if it comes to like being able to win
Derwin
through the air,
James feels a little bit disrespected right now.
I mean, Derwin James is not going to stop Tyreek and Waddle. I think that it's a close game. I'm not saying that we walk all over them, but being in Miami, middle of October, it's still hot as fuck. I think that we can have the home field advantage and pull out that victory. I give Atlanta the victory because I think that their offense is just as high powered as ours, and being in Atlanta is going to be the difference maker.
Who they got that's a speedster like Tyreek?
Who does who have?
It's not
The
that
Atlanta.
necessarily they
They
have
don't
the
have that.
speedster, but
Yeah, but
they
they've
but
just
got
like
have
Drake
a
London,
better
they've
offense
got Darnell
overall.
Mooney, they've got Bijan Robinson.
That's not those two guys do not that's not the same as Waddle and Tyreek. Waddle and
Okay.
Tyreek are up there, dude.
But
compared
you
to
also
these
got to
guys.
factor in their DB core with Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell versus the Dolphins with a bunch of Publix workers.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect,
Publix
but
bag boy.
that's just how Greer's built this team.
So Austin, what do you have them going in that next four?
2-2, like hope there.
So lost to Chargers, lost to Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so week 9 they're on at home versus Baltimore. Week 10 they stay at home versus Buffalo. Week 11 they're in Spain to play the Commanders. And week 13 they are at home versus the Saints. I've got them going 1-3 in that stretch, boys, with the only win being the Saints after the bye week.
Agreed. I think Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington is just another caliber of team that Miami's not able to compete with at this point. Washington made it to the NFC Championship game last year. Buffalo and Baltimore are both capable of making it to the AFC Championship any year. They're just not. They're not on that level. I think that they're a potential playoff team. They should make the playoffs, but I think that they're a first or second round exit at this point, the way their roster is developed.
Y'all shouldn't even play those 3 games hard. I mean, I would just take a rest. Like that should be a bye week. Those 3 weeks for y'all.
So 4 bye weeks in a row.
Like, yeah, just chill out
That's
for
right.
a whole month.
Because
Just
we
rest
can't
everybody
take the
for a month.
L's.
If you look at the rest of the season, there's really only 2 games that we're gonna have to like put up or shut up for, and that's
Y'all could squeak a win by LA, and
we'd be 9-8 even if we lose those games by my like what I've said so far. Now next we've got New York Jets at the Jets, at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati at home. I believe that that's a Sunday night football game, so it could be flexed out because it's late enough in the season. Tampa Bay in Tampa, and then New England at New England. So through that stretch, I have them winning versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. I have them losing versus New England in New England.
No,
I don't. My bad. I'm reading the wrong screen.
No, I think you do.
The only loss I have is them versus Tampa Bay. I think that they can beat the Jets, Pittsburgh. I think Cincinnati will be a close game. I think it'll come down to offenses. And even though Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are better than Waddle and Hill, I think that in general, the defense for the Dolphins and just the team as a whole, this will be a big push game for them. They could easily lose that game. I think that they have it to win it.
Against Cincy.
Against Cincinnati.
This man's smoking crack over here.
Cincy's defense is garbage, so I could see
that's
that
what he
going.
did say that. I thought they had a better defense than garbage.
They
but
got a couple of pieces this offseason. We don't know what those are going to look like. They had one of the worst defenses in football last year. I think the defensive line for the Dolphins in general should be able to help out against a team like Cincinnati. Like, as bad as our secondary is, our defensive line is legit.
yeah,
Whenever
no, I
they're
like
all
the D
healthy
line
and they all
and your
play.
linebacking core. Like,
I mean, adding Chop last year, Phillips and Chubb, Sealer and Grant now in the middle.
you got some serious dudes down there.
Still have
They
Benito
better get to the
Jones.
quarterback. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta say.
have to,
So
straight up
I've
have to.
got the Dolphins finishing those final 5 games at 2-3. I have them beating the Jets on the road and Pittsburgh on the road,
Yep,
but I have them
that's
dropping the last 3.
we got the same
Which is very
the
much
whole way through.
Miami thing to do.
And I'm with you on Cincinnati. Like, it's Sunday night football. It's at home. You don't have to worry about the cold weather late in the season right there being at home. But if it gets into a shootout, man, like Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they're going to torch that secondary. And I don't think the Bengals have a great secondary either. But man, if it comes down to a shootout, I think the Bengals end up taking that one. And then that, to me, that's one of those two. It's just the Dolphins just don't play well at home on prime time. Like, that's just how it goes. So I'm not confident in that game. Also, there's a very strong chance that Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers are playing that game at that point. Like, that's just how it's been. We've only gotten one season with Tua playing late in the year. So that's just how it is. Like, so I've got the Dolphins going 8-9. Same record that they finished with last year. They're going to barely miss the postseason. They're going to be right in the middle of the pack again, and they're just going to run it back because for whatever reason, Chris Greer has the most blackmail ever on Stephen Ross to where he just can't lose his job. What's your final record for the Phins?
11-6. Definitely some hard-fought games that I think that they pull out. I think a big difference too for this year is going to be Achane. Him and Jalen Wright having a full season,
And
with
Ollie
just
Gordon
the
now.
two, and now Ollie Gordon.
It's
I
just the
think
Phins have given me no reason to think that they can pull out close, hard-fought games.
I don't think that we need to though. I
In the
think if
Mike
we're
McDaniel era, like you have to be up 2 touchdowns just to even feel safe about it.
I feel like if we can pull up the type of offense that we were whenever we put up the second most points that have ever been scored in a football game ever and had a chance for going for the most versus the Denver, defense, which is right now one of the top defenses we even consider in football. I think if we're at that point, they're an unstoppable force on offense with the pieces that they have available. Offensive line doesn't even really matter that much whenever Tua is playing his game with his dudes. So
Imagine
It
if
also
you had
like
a
It's a
Mike
lot of
quarter-
ifs.
McDaniel's situational football has to get better.
Agreed.
Like when he chooses to use his timeouts, stop having these dumb delay of game penalties constantly. Like to me, it's not from bottom to top. I feel like if this team doesn't make a jump, like you might as well just throw a grenade in there and just start all over.
Yeah.
Like that's
You can't
That's
let
the way I see
Tua
it.
hold y'all back this long, man. I'm telling you.
I mean, we
He's
just signed
the
him to a
problem.
5-year deal last year.
And the frustrating thing with Tua is when he's on the field and healthy, he has proven he is a top 7 quarterback in the league. Like
Easily.
hands down, easily.
I would just like a
proven.
little bit more
It's just,
extending the plays.
My God,
'cause
can you give us at least 14 games a season
He
and be
doesn't need
available at
to
the end?
Well,
extend
Like if
if
the
you're gonna
you
get
plays
have
hurt,
enough.
do it in the
receivers-
beginning of the year and go out for a couple weeks and then come back ready
What
to
I'm
roll.
saying is, to Austin's point, he doesn't need to extend the plays. He makes good timing throws in tight windows. He has the
I get
arm
that.
to be a top 7 quarterback. He honestly has the arm to be a top 4 quarterback.
But
There
see, I do
aren't
think
very
he
many.
needs to get to where he can extend the play more because we've seen when that timing is off, the dude just immediately glitches in the backfield and and he'll make some crazy plays. But half the time too, there are throws to where it's just like you should not throw that, but it worked out because Tyreek's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, so no, I do agree. Like, he's got to get better. Not even extending the play and, using his legs to pick up rushing yards. Like, just buy yourself some extra time and get set again. Don't get happy feet back there.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. To me, it's one of those, like, going into this season as a Dolphins fan, I'm just not optimistic about this year like I have been in the past couple years. I've given benefit of the doubt. I'm like, all right, some pieces got to come together, but man, it's just one of those, like, I will be pleasantly surprised if they do end up 11-6 like you've got them going. It's hard for me to pull that card right now. So
I've got 9-8. Over 500.
Hey, yeah, over 500. Like I said, I've got them 8 and 9. So, hey, brutally honest, grown-up decisions out here. Chris Greer, you better get it in line. But I mean, I guess you're good because he's operating like a guy who knows his job is safe. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. Be sure to subscribe down below. We love you guys. Peace out.